Right. Ooh, that was great, that Cadbury's presentation. 176 days to go till Christmas, that's what I kept thinking to myself. Right. I think there are some people that probably won't be able to go back with me here, but let's start by taking you back to 1985. Madonna was top of the charts. Doc Brown was sending Marty McFly back to the future. And the Premier of China was Time's Man of the Year. How times have changed. But also, in SW19 in leafy Wimbledon, there was a 17-year-old German wonder kid about to set Wimbledon ablaze. I actually thought of this anecdote without realizing I was in the middle of Wimbledon, so I'm going to give myself a backhanded compliment for that. But here he was, this 17-year-old, he's 9 months short of his 18th birthday, and he turned up unseeded to Wimbledon with a game with mesmeric backhand, brilliant at the net, and a fantastic boom-boom serve. Let's take a quick look at him in action. I'm aware of some of you may have never seen the legendary Boris Becker.
Well, you've got to hand it to Boris. He's living dangerously. He's aiming so close to the lines that he's hitting them time after time.
He's hitting them time after time, but really it was his serve that was his greatest weapon. He was actually the biggest server of his generation. No one had quite seen a serve quite like this. A big rocking motion, he threw the ball so high in the air and got enormous power from it. Let's take a quick look. 156 miles an hour, 7.7 aces a match he used to serve, and he won 89% of all of his service games. The guy was a phenomenon. That's why unseeded he won Wimbledon. So all the other players, they set about thinking, how do we beat Boris Becker? We've got to try and come up with an answer. So what did they do? Like all great athletes, they started analyzing the quant data. They discovered 21% of his serves, they go out wide. 54%, 51% go down the middle. Some of you are statisticians. You'll have noticed there's some missing data. Well, the rest go straight at the body. This is how you beat him, no doubt. Armed with this quant data, one can really start to realize and predict where the serves are going to go. Step forward, the legendary Andre Agassi. More hair on show. Just more hair on show. Look at that stomach there, covered in hair. And also, the first man ever to wear 30-centimeter long fluorescent green lycra pants on Wimbledon centre court. That's a data point, but it's not relevant to this presentation. Now, Andre Agassi was an amazing returner of the game. He knew coming up against Boris Becker, he had to do all his research. So he studied the quant data, he set about playing him, and in the first 3 games, he lost every single one. Quant data was useless for him. Didn't tell him anything. So, what did he do? That's the point of what I want to talk to you about today. He decided not just to look at the quant data, but to analyze the qual data, the human behavior of Boris Becker's serve. What would he spot in the serve, the flip of the ball, the way that he moved? Could he see something that would give him an added advantage in the qual data? And then he did. He spotted it, hiding in plain sight, an insight as clear as day that gave him the ability to read Boris Becker's serve almost at will. And I'll let him explain what he found.
Tennis is about problem solving. It's really what it is. And you can't problem solve unless you have the ability or the empathy to perceive all that's around you. The more you understand what the problem is through other people's lens, the more you can solve for people in life and in business. Boris Becker, for an example, who beat me the first 3 times we played because his serve was something the game had never seen before. Well, I watched tape after tape of him and stood across the net from him 3 different times, and I started to realize he had this weird tick with his tongue. I'm not kidding. He would go into his rocking motion, his same routine, And just as he was about to toss the ball, he would stick his tongue out, and it would either be right in the middle of his lip or it would be to the left corner of his lip. So if he's serving in the deuce court and he put his tongue in the middle of his lip, he was either serving up the middle or to the body. But if he put it to the side, he was going to serve out wide. The hardest part wasn't returning his serve. The hardest part was not letting him know that I knew this. So I had to resist the temptation of reading his serve for the majority of the match and choose the moments when I was going to use that information on a given point to execute a shot that would allow me to break the match open. That was the difficulty with Boris. I didn't have a problem breaking his serve. I had a problem hiding the fact that I could break his serve at will because I just didn't want him to keep that tongue in his mouth. I wanted it to keep coming out. So I told Boris about this after he was retired, because I just showed really good judgment from my own self-preservation and didn't share this with him before. I told him at Oktoberfest. We went out in Oktoberfest in Germany and had a pint of beer together, and I couldn't help but say, by the way, did you know you used to do this and give away your serve? He about fell off the chair, and he says, I used to go home all the time and just tell my wife, it's like he reads my mind. And he said to me, little did I know you were just reading my tongue.
Okay, so great use of human behavior, qual data over quant data. So why am I gassing on about 1980s and 1990s tennis players? Well, my point is simple, really. Big stats are hugely informative. They help us decomplexify. We find trends in using quant data, of course. But we ignore qual data at our peril, and I think insights hiding in plain sight are key. And I think in a time when quant data is becoming the hard currency, it's important, I think, to realize the true value of qual data and mixing it together. So I guess I'm here to tell you not to just count consumers, but watch consumers and listen to consumers to see if you can find that insight hiding in plain sight. And I'm going to share a couple of stories from my career where I think the value of qual data and not just quant data drove probably a different outcome. Some good, some absolutely terrible. I'm an average marketeer at best. Right, I'm Pete Harbour. I'm the CMO of Unilever's European ice cream business. I'm not a data cruncher. There's not going to be tons of data in here. I'm moderately okay at Excel, and I did history and politics at university. So how I got into marketing, sometimes even I don't know. But we're going to start by playing a slight game where we can understand the value of qual data versus quant data. So here we have some vital statistics. Okay, I want you to paint a picture in your head. Imagine the kind of person this is. 45 years old, blue eyes, brown hair, a 62 heart rate, pretty awful at tennis, weighs 82 kilos, has a car with a tow bar. It's a Mercedes, a wife, 2 kids, a dog, an urban dweller. Got the picture in your head? Probably thinking we should start selling this person a pension, maybe send adverts for a second home in Tuscany. This is Surrey, man, a bit vanilla. Oh yeah, this person is me, actually. I don't consider myself vanilla, and I don't live in Surrey. So let's now lay on the qual data. Well, not an urban dweller, in fact, comes from Somerset, which is why in his local pub his favorite drink is cider, not wine, but he doesn't tell people that. Yes, he has a tow bar, but that's because he likes cycling, so I guess a little bit of Surrey man in there. Has a dog, but everyone should have a dog. Sings karaoke with his daughter late at night because it's part of bonding. Absolutely loves hoovering. Loves it. Listens to podcasts whilst he hoovers. He's got a Henry. 2 Henrys, a red one and a pink one. Collects chopping boards. Every time he goes on holiday, sees a new chopping board. Love, this looks great. Look at this one. Be ideal for cheese. Has about 10, 15 chopping boards. Has an absolute addiction to late-night cereal eating. Someone has to be a Portsmouth football fan. Loves Yorkshire pudding, And he has 2 chronic diseases, seen here with his liver disease looking particularly yellow. So I guess likes doing sport, but actually does it for a good reason, because he needs to stay physically fit. So this is the qual data overlaid on top of the quant data. I think the point is, quant data says Surrey man, qual data says Somerset man. Probably the truth is somewhere in the middle. So all this is to say, let's look at some examples. I'm going to share 2 or 3 examples now of where I think in my career qual data has helped me out. And I think if I'd have followed the quant data, there may have been a very different outcome. Right, example number 1, PG tips. It was a long way back in my career, 2005. So I arrived on PG tips, didn't really have much going on. We had penetration static at 30%. It fluctuated 0.1 up, 0.1 down. 30% of households in the UK bought PG tips, and it seemed that that would never change. We had a slight opportunity. Arbon had come to us saying, would you like to do a link up with our new film? We said, yes, okay, yeah, this could be a good idea. I mean, they drink PG tips. Well, they don't. They drink tea, but we could make that work. Other things you need to know about this anecdote. Wallace here, he knits woolly jumpers. That will become relevant in a moment. And they're also big innovators. They create. They're scientists almost, and they have their best ideas over a cup of tea. So we came up with the marketing idea. Cuppa contraptions from PG tips, inspired by Wallace and Gromit. We would give away something free with a pack of PG tips. It would be one of these 2 amazing ideas. This is the peak now of my marketing career, 2005. It's never risen higher. On the left, a mug jumper. I see what you're thinking. That's rubbish. This was to keep tea warm. He knits, remember? He knitted the... No? No, okay. Over here, the character mug. It is black, but when you pour boiling water into it, the nose goes red, so you can tell the temperature of your tea. Huh? Yeah. Bit tacky, bit tacky. These were the 2 ideas we came up with, and we thought, right, we're now going to test them. 5 consumer groups, 8 consumers in each, 40 consumers, internal surveys. We got the quant data back. We got the market research report. It was clear, mug jumpers were brilliant. Everyone loved them. No, mug jumpers were terrible. They said, you're going to pour milk on it, it's going to get disgusting, and not, why would you come up with that idea? Yeah, it's a stupid idea, cross that out. Character mugs, yeah. I mean, it's cute, it's quite interesting, but we got hundreds in our cupboard already. I was 0 for 2 based on the quant data in the market report. But I'd seen something in those qual groups, a smile when they looked at the mug. They had hundreds of character mugs. They friggin' love character mugs. They had hundreds. So on the back of that basis, I ordered 1.2 million of them. Slightly ballsy, maybe. Slightly foolhardy, perhaps. Here it is in all its glory. £19 on eBay, still. Check it out. What I will say as well, briefly, brief anecdote, right-handed only. The eyebrows get in the way when you, a bit like the mug jumpers, the milk, anyway, left-handers don't go on eBay. Still, there it is. The result? In 1 quarter, 30% penetration to 33% penetration. So my argument would be the qual data saw something that the quant data didn't find. Human behaviour. People love a cute dog, perhaps. But there was something in what they said, something in their expression, something in the fact that actually the quant data didn't give. Okay, the second example. It's a pricing one. It's elasticity models. And because it's pricing, we need to put this up. Because my legal person said to me, Pete, you must make sure people are aware that retail prices are set at the sole discretion of the retailer. Absolutely true throughout this example. So, where were we? I was in the Middle East. I was managing skin cleansing and skin care. It was Dove Soap Bar at the time. A big hike in oil prices. We had to take some price increasing to make sure the gross margin remained at least flat. Wow, it was 4 Saudi riyals for a Dove Soap Bar, 4 Saudi riyals. Let's do the elasticity study. The elasticity study said you can go as high as 450. Okay, 450. Well, if we take our case price up to 425, retailers at the sole discretion set their own prices. RSP to 450, there's something in it for them, something in it for us. I think this can work. At 450, we don't lose the volume. The elasticity study says this will be a big success. Unfortunately, there are no pictures, there are no cultural references in an elasticity study. So off I went to the wholesaler, said, listen, I need to talk to you. We're going to take price. Here are all the reasons. You're barking mad. You're crazy. We're not going to buy it from you. The consumers won't buy it for you. This will be a complete failure. Well, I appreciate price is sensitive. It's not that. It's this. You see, in Saudi Arabia, this is what Saudis wear, but also a lot of people from the Asian subcontinent, all with flowing outfits and shallow pockets. Do you have a pair of shorts or, well, a pair of shorts, just really shallow pockets, and you put coins in and you sit down and they all fall out and you can't find your keys? That's basically what happened a lot in Saudi Arabia. People hated coins, hated them. They didn't want them as change. They didn't want to pay with them. They never carried them around with them. Saudi Arabia, 1 Saudi Riyal, 5 Saudi Riyals. They were their notes. Unless you were dealing in 1s or 5s, or any combination of the two, it was going to be tricky. The conclusion, we should put the RSP at 5, not 450, because at 5, they'll just pay with a simple 5 Riyal note. They'll get no change. The wholesaler will be happy. The consumer will be happy. The elasticity study said 450, otherwise you'll fall off the edge of a cliff. So that's what we did. The result? People were delighted to pay with a 5 Saudi Riyal note, get no change. Volume stayed static. Value went up by 10, 20%, and it was a big success. But I would argue again, the cultural insight is not on an elasticity study. Unless you have your wits about you, unless you're looking around, you might find yourself falling into the trap of going for 450 and finding your business falling off the edge of a cliff, not because of the price point it's at, but actually because of the fact that people have shallow pockets. Okay, last example, complete failure. I thought it would be brilliant. Bear with me. I was managing Bertolli at the time. We had this alfresco platform. It was going to be fantastic. We were already growing year to date 4% by the time we got to the summer. The biggest competition prize we could find, remember, we're an Italian brand, Pavarotti's final ever concert at Leeds Castle in Kent. We were going to give away free tickets on our pack. I know some of you can already see what's about to happen. It was unfolding in slow motion. Here's the prize. Can't wait to put this on shelf. This is going to be absolutely massive. Let's do a quick test. The quant data said, does the pack stand out? Yes. Do we have a compelling promotion? Oh, it's absolutely massive. Would people buy this pack over others? Oh, they all said yes. Every single one of them. The quant data was saying yes, yes, yes. So we went for it. Boom! Yes! The 250-gram pack flew. What's going on? That's not the Pavarotti pack. Why is that flying? What's happened to... What's happened to the Pavarotti pack? Disaster. What? Obviously, I asked the wrong question and got the wrong answer. I should have asked the question, can you find it in 3 seconds? Well, I'm looking for the green and yellow pack. This one's red, it can't be it. So it can't be here. Where's my Bertolli? Oh, the 250, I found it. That's what they were looking for. That was some other pack they'd never seen before. So it was a complete disaster. Arguably, I trusted the quant data when I probably should not have done. So, I guess, what's the summary? Quant data is absolutely not the enemy. And in fact, in a time when AI is getting increasingly more powerful, who knows how far it can go. But nor is it the sole answer. As the saying goes, there's nout so queer as folk. Human behavior is sometimes hard to predict. And it's important, I think, to combine it with an understanding, the human behavior understanding with quant data. And finally, the richest insights are often staring us in the face. Sometimes a tongue, sometimes a green pack when it should be, well, black pack when it should be green, sometimes shallow pockets with coins falling out. So, I ask you all, in this tough time when it's easier to just trust the quant data and not be courageous, be a little bit courageous and mix quant data with qual data. Thank you.